welcome to Sunset TV. I'm Tina Jha. You're watching Perspective. The winter session of Parliament concluded on Wednesday with both Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha adjourned sine die. Having commenced on the 29th of November, the session provided 18 sittings spread over a period of 24 days. And during this period, 13 bills were introduced, 12 in Lok Sabha and 1 in Rajya Sabha. 11 bills were passed by both houses, which includes one appropriation bill relating to the supplementary demands for grants for the year 2021-22, which was passed by the Lok Sabha, transmitted to Rajya Sabha, and will be deemed to have been passed by both houses after expiry of 14 days. Talking about productivity, in Lok Sabha it was approximately 82%, and that of Rajya Sabha was approximately 48%. The session was scheduled to end on the 23rd of December, but was curtailed a day earlier. In Perspective today, we will analyze the important bills that were cleared by Parliament and also the frequent disruptions that impacted productivity in both houses. Joining me on the program are four distinguished panelists. So let me first introduce them to you. I have with me in the studio Mr. Jagdambika Pal. He's a member of Parliament, Lok Sabha. He represents the BJP. Mr. Sujit Kumar, he is member of Parliament, Rajya Sabha. He represents the BJD. And two guests are joining us virtually as well on the program. Mr. Raghu Ramakrishna Raju, member of Parliament, Lok Sabha, representing the YSR Congress Party. And Mr. Chakshu Roy, he is head of outreach, the PRS. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me on Perspective on Sunset TV. Mr. Pal, let me begin the program today with you. So the winter session of Parliament has just concluded today. How do you look back at the session, the high points, according to you, of this session?
I think so in this session, what is my experience is, if Sujit ji is sitting here, he's from Biju Janata Dal, he's not our ally, he's not ally of the government. He's also sitting in opposition benches. But he also opposes sometimes to the government, but only issue based. But you have seen in this session, winter session, that opposition without any issue, without any reason, if the price rise was already by Business Advisory Committee and Speaker was kind enough to accept it under 193 for debate. So I think so if outside Rahul Gandhi is saying, we are not getting an opportunity to speak on the floor of the House. Price rise, if opposition, they realize it's an important issue. And if Speaker has given time, he is accepted under 193. But why they have disrupted the House? What was the reason? Without any issue, without any reason, only Lakhimpur case. I think that the case is already instigated under the supervision of the court, and it is instigated by the SIT also. Already the name of the FIR, they have been already in jail. Even this parliamentary democracy, and if Parliament only disturbs because of any state subject, law and order is a state subject. I think so here, if we are sitting here, you are talking about the productivity 82%. Under the leadership of parliamentary speaker, honorable speaker, it is an evidence that now productivity of the Lok Sabha is almost in some sessions, last session, more than 100%, 135%, 140%, 150%. Suppose that at beginning, when the House was begun on 29th of November, for 2 days, opposition, they were demanding now, at least until unless agriculture will not be repealed, we will not allow to function the House. If Prime Minister was kind enough, if after a long debate, even in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and passed, and it was agriculture reforms, that was a long demand by the farmers, and it was only on the base of the Dr. Swaminathan reports, which was constituted during 2005. And if after so many years, if Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has incorporated and only because of double income of the farmers, and even then he has withdrawn, and if the bill has been withdrawn and the House was in order, so you have seen that at least for 2 weeks the House was very much in order, more than 100%. But in last week, only on the basis of some reports of SIT, do you feel that this Parliament is not only for just a particular one law and order issue of Uttar Pradesh? So I think so, opposition, they have only set this agenda only because of UP elections. Otherwise, they have all right to protest. and 12 members if they have been expelled from the Rajya Sabha. So have you seen any in past कि if any either member of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha for unruly behavior, if he has been suspended, so what is the in practice? कि the member next day after second day I think so he has apologized and speaker and chairperson is kind enough to forgive and he should be allowed to participate.
As a member of the upper house, what do you think should members be deliberating upon? What is the introspection course that they should be resorting to so that disruptions do not become a regular norm?
Tina ji, first of all, I would like to thank Mr. Jagadambika Pal, such a senior member, for complimenting my party. As you know, my party never goes into the well of the house. In fact, we believe in constructive criticism, constructive discussions. We have opposed many elements of different bills, but in a very conscious and in a graceful manner. It's rather sad. I'm very sad that the productivity of Rajya Sabha is less than 50%. As you have rightly pointed out, the people of the constituency, people of the state have so much of expectation that when you go to the parliament, they will raise issues pertaining to the state, pertaining to common man, and get these issues resolved. But it's so unfortunate. At least, I've been telling this in multiple fora that at least question hour and zero hour should not be disrupted. There should be all party consensus, and I really urge and hope that this happens in all the subsequent sessions of the parliament, that at least the 0 hour and question hour should not be disrupted at all, because that's the only opportunity, when MPs can raise issues. And in question hour, only 15 members of parliament, if they are fortunate enough, get an opportunity to put the government on the dock. In 0 hour, again, it's a matter of your fortune or luck that you get an opportunity to raise pertinent issues.
Absolutely.
And regarding bills also, I really wished there were more discussions. I'm rather anguished as Honorable Chairman of the House also expressed his sadness today that opportunities were given to the opposition parties, but for whatever reason they chose not to take that opportunity. I'll give an example. The opposition members, they wanted to discuss on price rise, such an important issue facing the nation. Probably one of the most critical issues facing our country today. Inflation is at an all-time high. Price rise is, the middle class and the lower, the deprived classes are suffering under the burden of price rise. There was a short duration notice given for discussion, and then the opposition let go of that opportunity. So I think opposition has to introspect what message they are conveying to the nation, and particularly when there are so many pressing issues. Yes, Lakshmipur Kheri probably is an important issue for them, but there are so many other platforms. They could take to the street, they could get out the police stations, they could go, but at least 15-20 days when we assemble in the parliament is meant for healthy and meaningful discussions.
Just a few issues overshadowing all
just
the other
one issue or two issues maybe, right?
Okay. Mr. Raju, let me bring in your perspective. How concerning do you think is this trend of increasing disruptions, which is not just impacting deliberative lawmaking, which is the constitutional mandate of Parliament, but also in a way impacting the rights of the parliamentarians? You are a member of the Lok Sabha. You've been elected by people of your constituency with high hopes that you will take forward their issues. Yes. But precious time being lost due to disruptions over one or two issues, ignoring all the other countrywide issues. How concerning is this trend according to you?
Yes, it's very bad. In fact, we feel so sad, and people who have elected us, they will be looking at the TV, watching us, what is my MP doing in the parliament, and there is no opportunity for us to address the issues of the state in particular, and overall issues where the country is concerned. It is really unfortunate, that Lakhimpur incident. Okay, incident, I can't judge on the incident whether someone has done the mistake, whether he himself has done the mistake or not. But for the sake of one incident in one tehsil, the whole country, Parliament will have to discuss on so many issues. There are so many states, so many incidents are happening. Not incidents, there's so much of requirement for the members to raise the concerns of the public. So that is the right platform. And as our Sujitji very rightly said, especially the 0 hour and question hour, they should not be disturbed at all, even for a minute.
Let me get in a word from Mr. Roy on this worrying trend of disruptions and what, Mr. Roy, I remember when the monsoon session of Parliament concluded, you and I were discussing how there is an urgent need to prevent this growing trend of disruptions. And now adding to that concern is the aspersions against the chair, disrespect to the chair, stalling proceedings has become a well-accepted norm. Of course, this does not speak well of the institution of Parliament. Session after session, we discuss, but there is no solution in sight. As somebody who's analyzed so many sessions of Parliament, so many proceedings, and particularly ever since the live proceedings have begun, what is the kind of changing pattern that you have witnessed? Why this is happening, the growing disruptions, and what is the solution that you think that, if there is any?
Tina, I was reading an old parliamentary debate, and President Venkatraman, when he was chairman of Rajya Sabha, he had said that if parliament disruptions happen because there is paucity of time for members of parliament to air their views, then that's a problem that can be fixed, probably by sitting longer or increasing the number of days. But he also went on to say that what is more problematic is if the disruptions are politically motivated. So I think, one of the things that we need to differentiate is how do we ensure that there is a separation, right? I mean, Parliament can have, the Parliament's time is invaluable. And the opportunity that was lost last year, Parliament could barely sit for 33 days because of the pandemic. And there was an onus on Parliament to, sit and deliberate and make up for some of the opportunity that was lost last year. So I think one of the things that we need to really, really figure out, the Honorable Chairman of Rajya Sabha has suggested, the Speaker has suggested, that probably there should be some code of conduct that can be formalized, and political parties should be asked to ask their members to adhere to such a code of conduct. I just want to end by saying one small part. I think members of Parliament have a very basic privilege, which is to be able to express the views of the people or the state that they represent, and also to ensure that they can hold the government accountable. It's an individual privilege for each member of Parliament. And every time Parliament is disrupted, that individual privilege of a member of Parliament is trampled upon. So I think somewhere down the line, each member of Parliament, each political party has to recognize as to what should be the limit of dissent.
Certainly.
And where does dissent turn into disruption? That's a line that should not be crossed. Over the last many decades, on several occasions, it has been suggested, Jagdambika Pal ji said, Sujit ji said, Raju ji said, that question hour should not be disrupted. Now, the reason they are insisting that question hour should not be disrupted is because question hour is a fixed hour of Parliament. You can make up by sitting longer, during the evening in other areas of business. But question hour will be only for that one particular hour. If that hour is lost, you can never make up. And that's a time that is available to Treasury bench MPs, that's a time that's available to allied MPs, opposition MPs, to question the government. And the purpose of questioning is not to put down the government. The purpose of questioning is to elicit answers from the government and ensure that the government can do better. So I think when we look at all of these perspectives, there was a little bit of an opportunity that was lost during the winter session.
Okay. Mr. Jagdambika Pal, Mr. Roy made a very valid point that, parties must act responsible. There should be a limit to not let dissent become disruption. Now, as a seasoned parliamentarian, you have obviously seen several parliamentary sessions. You've been in the company of very able parliamentarians as well. Where do you see this line blurring between dissent and disruption, which now has become the norm and which is the increasing trend for the institution of parliament?
It's a very sad, and I agreed 100% on viewpoint of what Chakshura has said, because we are all associated with his PRS also. They to do very homework for bills also, for so many subjects which is to be on debate for in the house. So in any case, either Sujit ji, he is representing BJD, either Raju, he is from YCR, I am from BJP. It makes no difference कि I am elected from which party. But in parliament, if being a member of parliament, if I am in the house, so I am accountable to whom? I am accountable to the people of my constituency, my electoral college. And if electoral college has elected you as a representative of the constituency, so they are having very high expectations from you. Definitely, they will have expectations that you will raise the concern of the issues of our constituency also. You will be more serious and concerned about the development through your, as a member of parliament, at least. So question hour means कि only question hour, during question hour, either you may be from opposition, either you may be from ruling party. It makes no difference कि you are from treasury benches. But minister is accountable. If suppose that if you, during question hour, either maybe कि your question is either speaker will be kind enough to give you supplementary also. So then only minister has to respond, and sometimes you have seen कि he has to give assurance also. So then things could be resolved. मतलब at least you have, at least if I have some certain issues, it could not be resolved through the bureaucracy, even through so many offices. But even you have opportunity, you can resolve that issue through your ministers. So if question hour, if you are disrupting, so it means कि you are killing his own time, and even in 0 hour, any members, either lottery, speaker sahab, so he is so kind enough, even on 9th December, this house, then late night, 62 members of parliament, only 20 members are entitled to raise a matter of urgent issue during 0 hour. But he is kind enough, he has given 62 members to participate. So it means that only you can strengthen to the parliamentary democracy. Absolutely. And what for this parliament? Parliament, whether parliament is meant for disruption, or whether parliament is meant for debate, discussion and decision. And I don't agree that only at least opposition, they should not disturb to question hour and 0 hour. Even I think the bills are very important. And now we have been elected only for just making piece of legislation. So if you are fortunate lucky that now you are just contributing for just enacting law or piece of legislation by this August House, so at least bills should be discussed in the details in length. Okay, 6 bills has referred to the standing committee also. So if you are not ready to discuss bills outside what you are saying, now government is not allowing you. Okay. Now in business advisory committee, speaker, whatever opposition will demand in this particular bill, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, even speaker is ready to give you 4 hours. And for 4 hours, now I think so, with the local issues, because of elections, and I think so for the first time, this last week was disrupted only because of there is a tug of war between Trinamool Congress and Congress party. Congress realizes that now
okay, Mr. Kumar, so what is the kind
Congress
of course
has
correction
taken
then
more mileage. Otherwise, what was the concern with the Trinamool Congress of Khiri Lakhimpur issue?
Very valid points, but now obviously when we're talking about ways to improve this, what is the kind of course correction that is required on part of political parties,
Right.
especially when we look at the House of Elders. The upper house has has members, and it is the House of Elders, and there is a responsibility, which we are now seeing is lacking.
Right, Tina ji, it baffles me as to why the opposition parties would miss the opportunity to put the government on the dock. I mean, again, we are going back to question hour. Such a wonderful opportunity for the members of opposition parties particularly, and for that matter for every member of parliament, to ask relevant questions, start questions, and also through supplementary, right? But I mean, those opportunities are being missed. Now, debate and dissent are rights of every members of parliament,
Certainly.
right? And in fact, duty as well. But the dissent, there has to be a distinction between dissent and disruption. Now, I mean, I will, with all due respect to Mr. Pal, when they were in the opposition, they did the same, right? So, I mean, between 2004 and 2014, BJP was in the opposition, was main opposition party, and we saw similar scenes then. So I think it's not limited to just one party which is in opposition now, or the parties which are in opposition now. It's a multi-party phenomenon that we see, very unfortunate.
Absolutely, and that is where the concern is, Mr. Raju, that this trend cannot be allowed to continue. So if one party is in the opposition...
Can you give me a fraction of a second?
Let me take a reaction from Mr. Raju and I'll come back to you. Mr. Raju, so it's a cycle which we are seeing is sort of never ending. So when you're in the opposition, you're doing the same thing. So when you are in the government, you're pointing out fingers at the opposition, and this is going on for decades. The point is, as responsible political parties, we have to put an end to disruptions, and what Mr. Roy said, we have to maintain the decorum of the institution of parliament.
Exactly. Yes, we should do that, and perhaps it may not be a bad idea, along with our oath, where we take that we shall abide by the Constitution. I think there should also be an additional line to keep some morality, that we will ensure that the House runs in order, and if there is, as rightly said, dissent can be expressed in many ways, but not by disruption. So if that is an opportunity, if you are in the House, you can certainly express your dissent, and without expressing the dissent, walking out and not allowing the House to function, getting into the well has become a routine every day. So I think if we can bring it by way of an oath at the time of swearing in, that I shall abide by the decorum, I shall maintain the decorum. So that also, if it is made as a part of the swearing in, I think some discipline would come, and we are here to make laws, and we ourselves are not utilizing the opportunity.
Okay, absolutely. That has to be a multi-party effort. So let's see going forward how that happens. But Mr. Roy, time is running out very quickly, because we also spoke about the important bills that were passed, and one among them was the Election Laws Amendment Bill. So we saw how it seeks, it provides for linking of electoral roll data with the Aadhaar ecosystem. Now, help us understand what is the kind of transformation that this bill is going to bring about. We saw some parties also differing on the various provisions of the bill.
Since time is short, what I'm going to do is I'm going to very quickly list down a couple of things that have happened legislatively, which Parliament has done. One, there was a surrogacy and an assisted reproductive technology bill which was pending since 2019 and 2020. Parliament was able to clear those two bills. There was a dam safety bill on which there were concerns from regional parties, but there was a discussion. You know, the minister for water resources answered those discussions, and that was another bill that was pending for some time that was passed. An interesting development, which I personally welcome, was that a number of bills were also referred to parliamentary standing committees. As all three members who are here on the panel today are members of each of these standing committees, it will give them an opportunity to go into the details of these bills. One of them is a mediation bill. Another one is about age of marriage. Another one is about biodiversity. Yes. So these are crucial areas in which Parliament will be able to scrutinize these things in detail, even when it's not in session. One final quick thought, just in terms of legislation, is that in this session, one of the things that we witnessed was that even when there were smaller or amendment legislation. So, for example, there was a legislation which was changing or clarifying an aspect of pension for high court judges. The two houses witnessed a debate which was encompassing of what should be the changes required in the judiciary. So I think that was a very good trend where an amendment legislation was used as an opportunity for doing some kind of a post-legislative analysis by Parliament. In terms of just in terms of what is the legislative agenda before Parliament when it meets for the budget session, which is going to be in about a month's time, there are a number of bills. For example, there is a report on the personal data protection bill which has come out. Mr. Jairam Ramesh, when he stood up to lay on the table of the House the report, he actually complimented the process by which the committee had worked. So I think that was a good step. So that's a bill that will come up. Another bill for which concerns farmers for whose report has been tabled is the pesticides bill. So in the upcoming session of Parliament, you will notice some of these bills which have gone through detailed parliamentary scrutiny come up in the budget session and then be passed.
Absolutely.
And I hope that this trend of referring bills to committees continues so that a parliament can do a better job of scrutinizing every piece of law that comes before it.
Certainly. And we've seen a few bills have been referred to standing committees in this particular session, winter session of Parliament that has just concluded. So 11 bills in total have been passed. It won't be possible to discuss each one of them on this particular program. Time is also running out. But I want to thank you all, gentlemen, for joining me on the program today and sharing your thoughts with us and our viewers as well. So that's it from us on this edition of Perspective. We've spoken about how disruptions need not become the norm of parliamentary functioning. We need to uphold the dignity and decorum of the institution of Parliament. And even if there is dissent, it need not become disruption. So that is the crux of the debate that has come out, or what the gentlemen have pointed out to us on the program today. So with that, I'll have to call it a wrap on this edition of Perspective. Thank you once again to all our viewers for their time.